Hey guys, what's good? I'm Andre from the Trading Crew, and on this channel we have a look at stocks I love, stocks you love, and most importantly stocks nobody should love. So today I want to actually have a look at NIO, a stock that one of you guys suggested that we look at. Alex, thanks so much for your suggestion here. So let's dive right in here. I will start with charting analysis, and then after that I do want to go into the fundamentals and have a look at where we think that NIO is gonna end up throughout this year. Cool. So the first thing I want to highlight here is the fact that on the weekly chart, the chart itself looks decent. It does look like the MACD is gonna turn green here, so that's a long-term bullish view on NIO for the next weeks here. That being said, hold on tight before you decide to hop in. Let me just show you how the daily and 4-hour charts look like. First though, I do want to mention the fact that this is not a solicitation to buy, and you should do your own research, your own due diligence. I might be completely wrong, so please don't take this as any sort of suggestion to buy or sell any positions. So on the daily chart here, if we have a look, we can notice straight off the bat the fact that NIO is getting closer and closer to being overbought on the RSI. Actually, I have the RSI set up with conservative bandwidth here at the 70 RSI range. It usually means overbought at 80 for reference. That being said, if we have a look at last time that NIO was at all-time highs, it did pull back from the 70 range, so just take it with a word of caution. With that being said, guys, I do want to have a look here at the chart. As we can see, NIO is still considerably lower than its all-time high peak, right around 31%. I do want to also remind you the fact that when it was at all-time highs, the chip shortage was really not something that was so top of mind for everybody. And then on the other end, NIO still hadn't launched in Europe, so a plus and a minus, I guess, there. From a strict charting perspective here, I know it's hard to tell, but first off, I want to highlight the fact that we have a gap here at right around $39. It's a bit more visible on the 4-hour chart. If we have a look here, there you go, this gap here. Stocks quite often have the tendency to fill gaps, so do be careful about that. That would mean quite a hefty retracement from where we're currently at to the $39 range, which would be 15%. So please keep that in mind. With that said, though, I also want to highlight the fact that this green line here, which is the 150-day MA, acted as support previously over here, as well as historically, if we go further back in history here. And it also acted as resistance pretty much on both of the previous occasions when the stock reached the same level. So with that being said, guys, please be careful. It doesn't really mean anything right now, although the pin bar here that we see does mean that there was quite a bit of resistance there, or supply. So the price fell almost below the line. It doesn't really mean anything right now, but it does signal some sort of alarm, so you have to be careful about it. Time your entry. I don't really believe that it's the time to buy NIO right now, but the fact that it started making higher highs is definitely a very encouraging sign for the next few weeks, maybe few months here. So with that being said, I also want to show you the fact that the MACD is potentially showing like it's gonna turn red here, so that's also something we want to take into account. Finally, from a charting perspective, I want to have a look at the 4-hour chart as well, and here we can see some signs of similar patterns. Obviously the 4-hour will be quite a bit more reactive, so even the MACD is more reactive, so we need to take everything into consideration. But we can see pretty much the same here as well. The fact that as soon as it passed the 70 range on the RSI, it started tapering off. It doesn't mean that it's gonna immediately pull back. I'm just trying to highlight the fact that it might not be the best moment to buy in right now, especially since NIO actually managed throughout the last week to grow what seems to be like around 10% at least. So with that in mind, obviously it won't be able to keep up the pace indefinitely, so it's important to have that top of mind whenever you decide your entry point. So NIO here is probably going to continue moving maybe higher for the next trading day, but I do expect it to pull back and to correct the RSI, as well as get back into maybe a red MACD within the next week or so. Especially again since we're seeing this resistance point right here. Now on the fundamentals end, I think NIO is doing a couple of things really well. They keep promising lower deliveries than they're actually able to meet. So every single time that they're announcing new released numbers, they come off better than what their projections were. So I do believe that this is a very important thing that they're doing really well. On top of that, obviously we can see the trend going quite strong here in terms of EVs. We can see how many EVs are getting sold, especially in China. If we have a look again at the chart and try to take fundamentals into consideration, I do want to mention the fact that when it was at previous highs, we again didn't know about the chip shortage, which in the meantime looks to be, the news is telling us that within the next quarter or so the chip shortage might be completely solved. And on top of that, we do know the fact that NIO has an exclusive deal with NVIDIA to be the provider for those chips. So NIO is definitely poised to be one of the ones that get out of the chip shortage issue the fastest with that in mind. So that's also probably part of why we're seeing this surge from NIO within the last week here. On top of that, we also know the fact that when NIO was at previous highs here, or actually all-time highs, they didn't, or nobody knew about the fact that they're gonna launch in Europe. So this is also something very important, with NIO coming to Europe this year and them announcing that they're gonna be starting with pretty much the Scandinavian peninsula being where they have their base camp initially. I think there's a lot of growth here projected for NIO, with the European market being quite primed for EVs currently. So with that being said, how would I play NIO? First off, I think I would wait for it to retrace a bit. I do believe strongly that it's gonna retrace from here. I don't really have a crystal ball, so can't tell you for sure, and as I previously told you, the fish really didn't know what to tell me either. I do think that it's gonna potentially retrace at least a 5% here, maybe to the 180 MA line, maybe a bit lower to the 200 MA line. So I'm gonna wait for it to retrace a bit more from that point, or maybe halfway along the line here, when NIO does start to retrace, because I do want to see the premiums go a bit higher than what they are. I'm probably gonna end up selling puts. Selling puts is a bullish strategy here that is gonna allow you to get into the stock at a better price. So if we, for example, sell a put for the 16th of July at, let's see here, let's say that we want to sell a cash covered put at there's really not an ideal entry point here for some reason. I really would have wanted to see a 42.5 price here, strike price. So without one really existing, I'm probably going to have to default to the 20 delta one here, the $40 strike price. So what this means is the fact that I'm obligated to buy 100 shares of NIO if it does reach the $40 strike price by the 16th of July. And for waiting, or for being obligated, for putting up that collateral, I do receive a premium of $112 or let's say $113, the mid between the bid and ask price here. So $113, it goes straight into your pocket for waiting for NIO to go to $40. If NIO does retrace back to $40, I'm obligated to buy 100 shares. That also means the fact that I have pretty much an entry price of $38.87. So I definitely will have a much better entry price than the current 46 or actually 45.75 here. Obviously, if I do get assigned the shares, I'm gonna sell covered calls on them. Please check out my videos on selling covered calls if this is new territory for you. But I just wanted to give you sort of an idea on how I plan to enter a position here for NIO and how I plan to enter it at a much more affordable and discounted price than it currently sells at. So with that in mind, I did also want to throw out a prediction here for a NIO price for the year. So I do believe that it's gonna continue moving higher from here unless we see some really high inflation numbers coming out in the near future here. I do believe that NIO is gonna potentially reach $50 within the next quarter or so, and then I do think that it will probably get back to previous highs within the year here. So I do expect NIO to be closer to the $65 range before the year is done. I don't see why that wouldn't happen with NIO having such a strong position right now and being able to output so many cars on the market within the last few months. On top of that, with their battery as a service type offering, it's gonna really be an interesting thing to see how NIO challenges the European market and how the markets in general just accept the idea of swapping their batteries in their NIO cars. That pretty much wraps up the video, guys. If you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell so that you can see future videos I post. Obviously, hit that like button, it really helps the algorithm and helps drive the channel forward. And thanks so much for taking the time to listen to what I had to say. Take care.